Hello. Last week I received two wonderful packages. One of them had this little case in it. This is from a friend in South Dakota who is an enthusiast about scissors, and he knows particularly a lot about Heinisch and Wiss scissors. Lots of others too, but Heinisch and Wiss were really the kings of the scissor world. They made scissors for the purpose of manufacturing clothing in New York. So large tailor scissors were needed to cut up large blocks of fabric to make into clothing. And then there were pieces like this, which were smaller scissors, which were for people who liked to sew at home, which was a very important home industry at the time, because you couldn't simply get brand new inexpensive clothing all the time. You had to repair the clothing you had. So that was the one package, and I will show you that in a while. And then the other wonderful package was a pile of rocks from none other than Dan's Whetstone Company. They sent me these rocks, which are Rainbow Arkansas. This is very old stone, which is no longer mined, but they had a piece of it and cut it up for me. And so I got this wonderful block of colorful Arkansas. It's not quite as fine as translucent stone, but it is probably equivalent to hard Arkansas. And the amazing thing about this is that it cuts extraordinarily well. So I have this big block for sharpening knives and large knives where you need the larger surface. And then I have this little piece where Steve has roughly prepared the surface of this so that I can finish it on Jared Carnety's lapping plate and make it into a perfect ellipsoid surface. So that is to come in the future. So there we are. These two beautiful pieces were a great thrill for me to get, because I guess you can't find that material anymore. And then I got these three pieces. So these are, once again, Arkansas, and this is a hard Arkansas, and this is translucent Arkansas. Actually, it's translucent and white. I like this white Arkansas. I don't know what is in the stone to make it white. I suspect it's a calcium of sorts that is in the lattice of the novaculite. Anyway, the white dries out. It's clear when it's first cut, but then it dries to white like this, and you can see there's the layer where it's white, and then this is the translucent. Anyway, these are fantastic for sharpening stones. I mean, for sharpening knives and larger blades. So I can hold it in my hand and sharpen with it. And I will show you how that is done with this stone in a minute. So here we have the unveiling of the beautiful scissors. This is somebody's prized collection of scissors, probably for home use. And there they are, a collection of beautiful old Heinisch scissors, probably from the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. And they are gorgeous. And this set was extremely well preserved, because the two smaller scissors are the ones that would be used more, and they got sort of sticky and didn't work as well, so they were put aside, and I suppose some other scissors were used instead. And what it meant is that they were unused. So here I get them 100 years later, or more than 100 years later, 125 years later, and they are still in perfect condition. Gilded handles, perfect high quality, high carbon steel blades, and they are absolutely magnificent. So I took them out and I felt these blades, and indeed they are still as sharp as the day they were made. These have never been sharpened, and they are still perfect. I don't need to do anything to these. They were essentially unused. But the two smaller pieces were used, and so they are not sharp. And what I'm going to show you is how I dealt with this. So these were fairly dull. I mean, they weren't badly dull, and they haven't ever been sharpened, but they weren't sharp anymore. Now, sharp is, well, if they're not sharp, they don't cut thread. They kind of just roll thread over. And so the reason these were not used is because the inside of the blades had what looked like sellotape, sticky tape. So I imagine at some time in the 40s or the 50s, somebody cut a piece of tape with these, and then the tape was stuck on the inside here, and it had been hardening there for 75 years. So how do I get it off? Well, what I did is I got some glue solvent. The one I used in this case was D-limonene, which is a citrus solvent. And I put it on the blades here and left it to soak for a while. And eventually it softened the sellotape, and I was able to get a blade and gently scrape it all off. So now it is free of tape, and that means that the blades, once again, move perfectly smoothly. But it's not sharp, so then what do I do about that? Well, as you've noticed in my previous video, I sharpen hard steels with diamond stones. So I could have got diamond stones here, like here are some of my diamond materials. These are wooden blocks that were cut by my friend, and I've shaped these so that they have an ellipsoid surface on that side, flat on this side, and these are about 8 inches long. So they're very nice to hold. They're longer than the ones that I use for sharpening razors. And most of the time, except for razors, I don't really need to have this curved surface. A flat surface does the job. So I would stick on some of this lapping film, and I don't have any cut up here, but what I can do is show you the sheets as I get them. So here is some 125 grit. This is looks like a 30 micron piece. There are others here that are finer. This is well, I don't know what that is. The green is a bit coarser. The orange I've got marked as about 15 microns, and then the blue is 9 microns, and the pink is 3 microns. So for sharpening scissors, well, I might use the 15 micron lapping film attached to one of those these wooden blocks, and it would make a very nice tool for sharpening scissors. So I could hold them like this, and then what I would do is I would sharpen them and pretty quickly get the job done. But I found that diamonds are not the best tools for old carbon steel like this. Carbon steel responds much better to natural stones. The diamonds tend to leave a nasty burr because the diamonds are so hard that they kind of leave deep grooves when I grind with them, and it's not the best, in my opinion. It's not a very good material for sharpening carbon steels. So I'm going to put these aside, and what I will use is this stone. And this is a piece of my translucent Arkansas. This is another piece that Steve cut for me. It's a little bit narrower than the other, but this is absolutely perfect for sharpening an old pair of high carbon steel scissors. So I want to take very little off. I would never put this on a grinder and grind away the surfaces. I wouldn't even use diamond, as I've just said, and I definitely wouldn't use any kind of power tool. But this Arkansas cuts extremely slowly, and it's enough to simply make this edge sharp again. So what I would do is I would come in here. I only sharpen the top surface. We don't want to sharpen the inside because there's a curve on the inside of the blades from when they're made. It's a very slight curve. It looks almost flat, but they are curved. They're curved this way and they're curved that way so that they naturally cut all the way to the end. So I wouldn't do anything to the inside surfaces other than at the end just make a slight wipe to remove any burr. But what I will do is this. I get the scissors and I get them at the right angle here, and that's right about there. I can see it. And then I get my stone, which I use like a file. I've got some of Dan's oil on it, Dan's whetstone oil. And this is what I find works extremely well with Arkansas. And it's more than just mineral oil. He's got something in it that makes it thinner and much more effective. So here I go. I get on the surface here, feel it in, and then just gently and then the other side. I lock it in here with my finger so that the scissor doesn't rotate. And again, just come in there like this. And you can see in the oil there's a lot of swarf here. It cuts it very slowly, but it's quite fast enough for a fine small tool like this. So here we are. I'll wipe the oil off, and I'll feel, yes, there is a burr there now. A very, very slight burr. So I could get this and maybe just wipe the blades along like that. Maybe just do one or two little pulls like this, just to smooth off the surfaces. It would touch on this side and on the edge. So on both sides I could just do that a little bit. Not much, doesn't take much. That's enough. And wipe off any grit. Now, what happened here? Too much paper. Here we go. Toilet paper, the best cleaning material ever. Doesn't have any oils in it. Doesn't have any fragrances or any other sort of stuff in it. So here we are now. I'm going to use my little strop. This is a piece of shell cordovan leather, and I have some of this, let's see, what is it? It's this. It's 0.25 micron gunny juice. I put one drop of this gunny juice suspension, diamond suspension, on the end here, and then rubbed it in and let it dry. And then all I need to do to remove any burr would be just to gently wipe this along the inside blade like this, and maybe once along there too. And the other blade. Now let's feel that. Yes, it feels, now it's beautifully sharp. I can feel it. I'm going to look with my magnifier. This is an Eschenbach magnifying glass, 5 magnifications, and it's got a nice bright little LED light which will sparkle up any bits of burr that are on the edge. And as I look at it, I see no burr. And no burr on this side either. It's wiped off perfectly. So my guess is that this will now cut beautifully. So let's have a try here. So here's a piece of toilet paper which is thin, and let's see how well it cuts. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. All the way right from the start all the way to the end. And even though it's such a fine stone and it has polished this edge so much, the little serrations from the stone are so fine that you can't see them, but it's enough so that it doesn't push the paper out of the scissors. Perfect cuts. Now, I know some people like to get the burr off by twisting the blades like this, closing them, and then opening them to rip off the burr. But I don't do that, because that it rips it off, and what it leaves is a broken steel edge. So I don't do that at all. This, I find, is a much cleaner and better way to polish those edges for final use. So there we are. One more cut. So satisfying to use a really fine, sharp pair of scissors. So there they are. A beautiful little pair of 125-year-old Heinisch scissors. As fine as any scissors that were ever made. Yeah, you can get harder scissors nowadays, but nothing as nice as these. And you can see how easy that was to refresh the blades so that they last for, well, if I used them daily, I might have to sharpen them once a year. These are not going to be my daily user scissors. I will seldom use them because they're collector's pieces and they look absolutely beautiful. But a collector's piece should not just look good, it has to work too. So there it is. Now it works. I'm going to do the other scissor, but I won't bore you with that now. There we are. That's it. New scissors, new steel, new stones. Fantastic. All right. Goodbye.